Welcome to episode 81 in our series on duties of the heart by Rabbi Bachya Ibn Pakuda, and we are in the gate of self-accounting, and we're up to chapter 3. And in this chapter, as we to recap, Rabbi Bahya gives us 30 examples of self-accounting, and we're up to number 22 this episode. And in this segment, he talks about how we should contemplate the responsibilities and benefits of working and having friends in a community. So this is the old saying, no man is an island. That's very true. And we must learn how to live together in harmony and in a fruitful manner. So Rabbi Bahya begins: one should make an accounting with himself of his involvement with other people in what pertains to the general welfare, for example, ploughing and reaping, buying and selling, and other ways in which people are mutually helpful in creating a healthy society, and consider that he should desire for them what he would desire for himself in these matters. Loathe for them to suffer what he would loathe for himself, empathize with them, and do all that he can do to shield them from what might harm them, as it is written in Vayikra chapter 19 verse 18, love your neighbor like yourself. An analogy to this is the following: think of a group of people who set out for a distant land on a difficult road. They will have to camp at many stations along the way, and they have with them many beasts loaded with heavy burdens. The people are few in number, and each has in his charge many beasts which he must load and unload frequently. If they help each other in the loading and unloading, and the desire of each of them is to further the welfare and ease of the burden of all of them, and they share equally in rendering help and assistance, then they will be in excellent shape. But if they are divisive and do not cooperate, and each one tries to further his own selfish interests, most of them will grow weary and falter. For this reason, my brother, the world becomes wearisome to its inhabitants, and their toil and trouble are increased because everyone concerns himself only with what his own lot demands, and seeks more than his allotted portion, and because they demand of the world more than is their due, and seek in it what is not theirs. The world denies that their due and does not provide them with their share. As a result, they are not satisfied with the world, and there is not one amongst them who does not complain and whine about it. Because they seek luxuries, the world denies them basic necessities, and grants these only after much trouble and exertion. If they would be content with what suffices for their basic needs, if they would all strive for the common good and share the same conditions, they would overcome all obstacles in this world and attain even more than they desire. Yet, not only do they not help each other in their worldly interests, but they hinder one another. Each one obstructs his friend and cripples his efforts, so that not one of them attains what he seeks or fulfills his desire. Therefore, my brother, you should endeavour to acquire faithful colleagues and true friends who will help you in your religious and secular pursuits, as you are wholehearted and true towards them. They should be as dear to you as your own soul, when you find amongst them those who are worthy of this sentiment. Do not, however, confide your secrets to anyone but the choicest of your choice friends, as Ben Sirah said. And he quotes from Ben Sirah 6 verse 6, many will wish you well, but confide your secret only to 1 in 1,000. And as King Solomon said in Proverbs 27:9, oil and incense gladden the heart, so confiding in one's friend for earnest counsel. So Rabbi Bahya is urging us to help your fellow man out. Help your fellow man or woman out, and be part of a community. Be part of an efficient and a joyful community that desires to help each other out. I know when I visit my brother who lives in Israel, I am sometimes amazed at what a lovely little community he lives in with his family, and all the neighbours help each other out. If ever I visit and my brother's house is full, I'm immediately become a guest of the neighbour, and I'm treated extremely well. And that's a great example of a community pulling together and being there for each other, and it just creates a beautiful atmosphere. And your neighbours are like just your extended family, and it's really, really wonderful. So Rabbi Bahya is talking about people who are, even more so, you find in various communities where people don't help each other out, and it becomes almost like just warfare every day. Things turn nasty very quickly when disputes start, and just people end up getting involved in nasty episodes throughout their lives. And let's move on now to number 23, which is a very interesting segment, and it's going to discuss contemplating God's universe and maintaining this sense of wonder about God's creation. So Rabbi Bahya begins: one should reflect on all that exists in the world, from the smallest of creatures to the largest, on the levels of rational creatures in the world, and the hierarchy of creatures in the terrestrial and supernal realms, on the arrangement of the spheres, the movement of the sun, moon, fixed stars and planets, on the way the rain falls and the wind blows and the newborn emerges from the womb, and on things more marvellous than these and more subtle, more apparent and more mysterious amongst the wonders of the Creator. May He be exalted, all of which teach of His absolute wisdom and power, His beneficent governance, His all-embracing grace and compassion, and abounding providence over the creatures. So this is a subject that we've touched on before, about looking at nature to see God's hand. He's mentioned it before. Rambam has emphasized it. He goes further than that. He says it's almost mandatory to learn the fundamental essence of physics and biology and various other natural sciences, because it gives you a kind of direct blueprint of God's work, handiwork. And there are lessons to be learned. There are ratios, simple ratios that God uses to establish the world, the universe, its forces, its natural forces. And once we grow accustomed to these, and then look out for these ratios, like the divine ratios, that plant life, that seashells, that tornadoes, all twisting this ratio, this type of turning, this kind of energy of the universe. It's all boils down to basic formulas. And if you can accustom yourself to seeing and recognizing and familiarizing yourself with these formulas, you see it in everywhere in everyday life. And it makes a trip to the park, or when you look at pictures of nature, you identify it immediately, and it becomes astounding that so much variety can be based on such simple formulas. But these are God's formulas. That's why it's called the divine ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. All of these things you should. We have so many ways of studying them through YouTube channels, through discovery shows, and they're made so enjoyable to watch. And it's almost like a mitzvah, a positive commandment to look at God's handiwork. And let's carry on. He continues, do not let your frequent observation of these phenomena and long familiarity with them deprive you of the feeling of wonder that they inspire or induce you to cease reflecting on them. Do not let your previous knowledge of them determine that you take them lightly, simply because if you have grown accustomed since childhood to seeing and observing them. We find that most common folk and many distinguished people have such a mentality. They are filled with wonder when observing something that they are unaccustomed to seeing. For example, a solar or lunar eclipse, thunder and lightning, thunderbolts, and a tempest and the like. But they feel no wonder at the movements and courses of the spheres, the sun, the moon, and the stars, at sunrise and sunset, the falling of the rain, the blowing of the wind, or similar phenomena that are ever present and are seen regularly. They are awed when they see the ocean, its waves and storms, and the many living creatures in it, but they are not awed by the flow of the rivers and the gush of water from the springs, flowing day and night without lull or let up, and by many other such phenomena. So it's very interesting he mentions the flow of rivers. You'd think, how can you see God's handiwork in the flow of rivers? Very simple, exactly the same ratio that is used to create the spiral within a seashell, or you see a spiral from space of a tornado, a hurricane, or you see the spiral of a galaxy. The same ratio is built into the flow of rivers. The ratio is for every 1 kilometer as the crow flies of a flow of a river, it has to meander 1.6 kilometers. So, to say that again, as the bird flies, if a river was to flow 1 straight kilometer, 1 straight line, when God creates a river, it flows 1.6, so it twists and turns like a snake for 1.6 kilometers. And this is, when you measure it, this is constant in nature. And this is the ratio. 1.6 to 1 is a golden ratio. So you can see God's hand in every aspect of nature, from the flow of a river to a seashell, to the way the length of your forearm to your hands is the same ratio. And Rabbi Bahya continues, therefore, my brother, you should reflect on all that God has created, what you have grown accustomed to and what you have not grown accustomed to, what you have seen before and what you have never seen. Do not let your inability to understand when you were a youth and first began to see things keep you from contemplating them and reflecting on them now that you are an adult and your intellectual faculties are strong, your heart is refined and your understanding is matured. Rather, look at them and study them as though you had never seen anything like them. Pretend that you have been devoid of vision before ever perceiving them, and that only later did you open your eyes, see them and come to know them. So Rabbi Bahya also mentions that we as human beings do not really look at the motion of the spheres, the sun, the moon and the stars, and really take much attention. I think by the time this episode is released, we would have received back images from one of these incredible telescopes that has been sent up into Earth orbit, the James Webb Telescope. And apparently, at the time of this recording, no images have been released. But by the time this has come on air, they would have been released. And I'm very much looking forward to this new view of the universe, of God's universe. We'll see images we've never seen before, and these are to be cherished because these are really, you're going to see phenomena that you've never seen before. Apparently, the scientists that have already seen some of the raw images have been brought to tears how beautiful they are. So, these sort of things we should really desire to know more about God's handiwork, and because it's It's fantastic. And let's continue. You can see, my brother, that the ignorant resemble the blind, and that, when they gain knowledge, it is as if their eyes are suddenly opened, and they can see. As Scripture says of Adam and Chava in Genesis 3:7, then the eyes of both of them were opened, though we know that they could see beforehand. So do not neglect to contemplate and study all that exists. You will then comprehend things truly and recognize some of the wonders of the Creator, may He be exalted, of which you were ignorant and to which you were blind for so long. As one of the wise remarked, the hearts of the wise have eyes that see what the fools do not see. As Scripture says, and he quotes from Yeshayahu, chapter 40, do you not know? Have you not heard? Were you not told from the very beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? Lift up your eyes on high and see who created these. So fantastic segment there, segment 23, urging us to go out and enjoy nature and spend a bit of time just to read up about the ratios that are used in nature, and then challenge yourself to spot them in flowers, in trees, in everything that God created, because it's a mitzvah to know, like Rambam says, it's a mitzvah to know God, not to believe in God. It's a mitzvah, a positive commandment to know God. And how can we do that? By studying His handiwork and seeing it firsthand. Seeing is believing, and once you see and believe, you know. And so I look forward to the next episode, where Rabbi Bachya is going to examine the concept of understanding Torah and the wisdom of our sages, and replacing shallow thoughts with fresh thinking.